You already have everything you need to be happy. You just need to learn how to use it.
What if I told you that for over 2,000 years, we've had all the answers on how to live a better life? The answers we need can be found through ancient philosophy, and in particular, I want to focus on Stoicism.
If you haven't heard of Stoicism before, perhaps you've been living under a rock. I particularly want to focus on Marcus Aurelius and his meditations. This is the Roman emperor. He's got all the money in the world, all the power in the world, so much responsibility, and yet he deals with the same sort of problems that you and I face on a day-to-day basis. So why I think it's so special is that these lessons are still relevant today, despite the circumstances being entirely different. It was never meant to be published. He'd probably be mortified if he knew this, but he doesn't know it, so we're gonna read about it. Now, full disclosure, I'm not perfect. I'm also not a philosopher. I haven't done shit, I don't know shit, but I just find this interesting. I don't pretend to have all the answers. I don't pretend to have it all figured out. I hope that I can pass on at least something of value to at least one of you.
Before we dive in, I want you to consider one thought. What if the key to happiness isn't in drastically changing your life, but instead in changing your perspective? We'll explore that a little later, but first, I want to focus on something that we all do, particularly you.
Why do we care so much about what others think? Marcus Aurelius has this beautiful quote that is, "We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." We seek validation from our parents, from our friends, and even on social media. You know, I'm a culprit. I'll post something on TikTok, I'll refresh that every couple of minutes. I wanna see the likes coming in. I wanna get that approval. I want people knowing that I'm the shit. But with that comes an important lesson. No matter how hard we seek this approval, we never seem to feel enough. And I think what many of us don't realize is that when we do this, we externalize our self-worth to others around us. And we actually have no control over what those people think or do. We prioritize ourselves in every facet, except we value the opinions of others more than our own. I don't really know why we do it, but we can change it. For me, just understanding this fact that we can't control what they think, so don't give them the power over your well-being. When you value others' opinions more than your own, you relinquish control over your happiness.
What if the secret to living a more fulfilling life is to just get back to the basics?
You know, we all know someone, or maybe we are that person that seeks newer, better, more all the time, and yet are never satisfied. I believe many of us defer our happiness with sayings like, "I will be happy once I get," or "I will be happy when," and it can't work like that. You'll just move the goalpost and you're externalizing your happiness and making it conditional. You know, Alex Hormozi has a really good quote that you've already achieved goals you said would make you happy, and yet you aren't. I think that sums it up pretty well.
When you judge your own self-worth or value on external things like money or how big your house is or your car, you set yourself up for immense dissatisfaction. Because when is enough enough? You need to learn to be just as happy with what you've got rather than always desiring more.
On a similar thought, Naval Ravikant, he says, "Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want." I'm not suggesting you become a monk, renounce all your material desires, go live in a cave, none of that. What I'm saying is you have to be very careful what you desire and what you want. Our happiness is not conditional, it's not an externalized thing, it can come from within. And so spend the time to actually identify what you want and what matters to you. Don't live other people's dreams and goals, live your own. And if you're going to have desire something, you're gonna be unhappy, and that's okay. Just make sure you choose what you desire. Don't let others choose for you. Remember earlier I said the key to happiness isn't in drastically changing your life, but in changing your perspective. One of the most important lessons I've learned through Stoicism is the power of perspective. There's an objective fact of what happens, and then there's a more subjective response to what that means to you. And I believe a lot of my stress and anxiety doesn't come from the event itself, but more the story I tell myself about it. Remember, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, and not the truth. What that means to me is that our perception really shapes our reality. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. And I think one of the most powerful quotes in the entire book is, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." If this is the case, then to live a better, happier life, you really need to take the time to work on that internal voice, that internal monologue inside your head. because you have the power to control the way you respond to the world around you. And if that determines your happiness, you should spend some time working on it. And it's not something I'm perfect at. You know, I wish I could say that I sit in traffic and I go, oh, this is a perfect time for me to listen to music and learn from a new podcast. No, I sit in traffic, I bitch and moan. But what I'm trying to say is, to every sort of bad circumstance, there is a positive spin on it. So spend the time trying to work that out and go into life with a better perspective, because you'll live a higher quality of life. Everything so far has been relatively positive. I thought I'd change the scenery, make it a little bit lighter for us all, because it's about to get a bit darker. I want you to consider embracing the certainty of death and how it can help you live a better life. Now you're probably thinking,
whoa, what the hell, Jackson? We watch this shit because it's funny. We don't want to hear about dying.
it's a fair point. I'm going to talk about it anyway. Now I know it sounds morbid, but get over yourself. We're all ending up there soon anyway. Right now, I'm practicing my open casket look. Should I go hands across my stomach? Or open hands? You let me know. Hear me out. I think a lot of us act as if we have all the time in the world. I think we forget that our lives are fleeting, that every day is a gift, and that gift is life. Bro, I'm a poet. I guess one of the more key themes throughout meditations is that certainty of death. He says, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. For me, this idea of focusing on death is not morbid or sad, but it actually helps you appreciate life a little bit more. Rather than fear what you cannot change, no matter how hard you would like to, maybe use it as a motivator to live. In meditations and through Roman philosophy, there's a key concept called memento mori, and it's Latin for remember death. It hits me hard. It makes me realize that I can't put my life on hold. Can't wait for that day to come. I have to start living now. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. I now think, through reading the Stoicism and appreciating that I am going to die, I'm able to appreciate and cherish each moment a little bit greater. When I think about death, I'm reminded of this Confucius quote.
You know, every man has two lives, and the second starts when he realizes he has just one.
So live your life, man. Don't wait. You don't have time. If that doesn't put things into perspective, I don't know what will. So, what's the secret to a happy life? And I hate to break it to you, I don't think there is one secret or one answer. If you can take two things from this whole discussion, it's quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So really focus on your perspective in life. And second one that I think is just as important is to remember death, because one day you're not going to be around and you don't want to get to the end of your life wishing you had lived it better or in a different manner. I hope I've shared something of value to at least one of you. I know it's a little bit different to what I normally do, but like I said, this is a book that means a lot to me. And I find this stuff really interesting, so I wanted to share it with you all. If you like that video and you want more, click this one here. It'll show you the only books you need in 2024. Click that video. Click that video. Please like this video.